doing the engagement, how do you keep something from being, I think I've heard somebody call it like a Grecian urn. So it's like you create this activity and it's like, hey, and the where it comes from is you're going to color the urn, right? You're in a history class, you're going to color this Grecian urn, you're going to put pictures around it, you're going to do all these different things, you're going to present it to the class, but it becomes more of the picture and creating the picture than me actually sharing as a student what I've learned. Like, how do you make sure something's engaging, and as a teacher I can see what the student has learned?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I like, honestly, I really love doing like simple assessment tools. And I'm going to share my
Okay.
favorite, which is honestly, I mean, this is like the most simple way ever. And I like to, I like to almost like it's not tricking the kids, but it is kind of. So for example, I'll share an activity example. So I'm speaking at Get Your Teach On, which is in June. And
Okay.
my philosophy is if you're a teacher and you're good at what you do, you don't reinvent the wheel. The best teachers steal ideas. If you're not stealing, you're not
Yes.
doing the job right. You're doing it wrong. So
Agreed.
I was working in California and I was sharing strategies and I was doing my workshop in this at an elementary school in California. And this teacher said that she stole an idea from another teacher who went to Get Your Teach On, which is funny because I'll be there in June. And the strategy that she talked about was one of the strategies that they kind of invented at Get Your Teach On. Now, my rule with anything is I'm going to steal it and then I'm going to make it workable for me in my own way. So it was called like boom clap snatch, I think is what they call it at Get Your Teach On. I changed the boom clap grab because I'm a middle school teacher and I got to be careful of what the titles of things are. And so with that being said, boom clap grab was invented and all you take is a note card. Now I'm going to answer your question in just a second here. So I'm going to take a note card and I'm going to fold it and then leave it on a desk so it's inverted, and I'm going to have a group of kids with a score sheet where they all write their names and then they just tally their points. And what seemingly looks like a pointless activity is going to be used at the end as a mild assessment tool, but ultimately I want to get kids to remember the content. Now, how do you learn something? Well, you hear it, you read it, you write it, or you say it. And so in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play boom, clap, grab. And so I'm going to say boom, and they'll pat their legs. Boom, boom, clap, and they're clapping and they're patting their legs. And I say grab. The first kid to grab the note card gets a point. Now, personally, as a teacher, I don't really care what the points are. I don't really care at all. I might give them mints if they win, whatever. I don't care. I might just a lot of times I'll give rewards out just because they're having fun and doing it effectively and learning. But as soon as he grabs that note card, cool, you got the point, whatever. But here comes my question. And before I even play boom, clap, grab with them, I'm like, all right, I'm going to ask your question now so you have think time. Here's my question. I'll do we're history guys, right? So what was the event that during World War II that took America from isolated to directly involved in the war? All right, here's your think time. I'm gonna give you 20 seconds if you want to dive into your resources, and then we're gonna play boom, clap, grab. Get 20 seconds, 5, 4, 3. Okay, here we go. Boom, clap, and then grab. Kid grabs a note card. You got your note card. Everybody that got the note card has the point. Great. Now I'm gonna have you answer the question. I'm gonna say it one more time. What was the event that got America from isolated to directly involved? Ready? When I say go, you're gonna say your answer. Set, go. As soon as I say go, every kid in the group speaks their answer out loud. Pearl Harbor, and then they
Gotcha.
might say something else, but you're always going to have kids who might not know anything because they're not doing as much work as they
Right.
should. And,
Right.
and by giving them think time, the kid with the processing delay and using the resources, I'm trying to reteach them to use their stuff. We don't take notes for nothing. Now,
Yeah.
regardless, though, I tell the kids beforehand, listen, what's the difference between good cheating and bad cheating? And they're like, this is how they respond every time. Bad cheating is when I steal the answer off of her during the test. Correct. What's good cheating?
Right.
When I steal the answer off of her before the test. Exactly. Or off of me or off of my board, but you steal the answer. So during this whole activity, I'm going to be asking you review questions. And if you have fun, I'll throw you some mints, whether you win or lose. And it doesn't matter if you don't know the question or you don't know the answers. Your job is to remember what all the answers were by stealing them off of your friends. And then at the end of class, here's your answer to your question. We're going to do an info dump where you're going to sit down for 10 minutes
Okay.
and you're going to write down everything that you remember in as much detail as you remember before you leave and forget it. Because actually, in that moment when they're writing it, they've already heard it, they've already been trying to say it. Now they're going to be writing it and they're going to
Okay.
retain that. And then I'm going to get that and I'm going to use that as a soft assessment tool to kind of gauge where they are. And then I'm going to use that as a way to like either reteach something or how I'm going to, for my next activities or whatever. But ultimately, that's also not only a way for me to kind of gain what they know, but it's also going to help them remember this stuff a little bit more. And they're again moving from compliance learning to active because it's a game. They're having fun. They forgot they're even learning, and then they leave and they go, "Can we do that again tomorrow?" No, but we'll do something else, and it'll probably be
Right.
fun if you can handle it.